All right, everybody, welcome back to another fun-filled episode of Pop Goes the Zebra. I am Jeremy the Ref, the gentleman that you always see with me, Jesse the Ref, and of course, our illustrious guest of honor, the fish man himself, Perch, Dan Perch. Welcome to the show.
Oh, guys, thank you so much for having me. I've been a fan since you guys have started, and it's wild to be inside the screen looking back.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, don't get too used to the humble confines around me. Getting ready to make the big move. We're going to have a proper office with a proper background. Although Mr. Stanley here will be with us in some facet or another. But yes, welcome to Pop Goes the Zebra, Mr. Dan Perch. Jesse, we have Dan Perch.
We got Perchy.
We got Perchy. So we're just gonna get right into it. I honestly, all I know about you, Dan, is what I've garnered from you on the weekends that we get to spend together, shows we get to do, but it's usually within the confines of the needs of the show, and it's the joke here and the haha there, but we've really never sat down and just shot the breeze much. So I think that's a perfect excuse to get you on here today and just talk life in general. Talk about your start. That's kind of where I want to get going here. I have no clue. Like, you're still kind of relatively new to everything, if I'm not mistaken. You're still pretty young in your career. How did you get started? Who got you into it? And tell us the origins of the Fishman.
Hey, well, thank you guys. I don't get asked many questions, so anytime to have an opportunity to talk is awesome, and to have a couple of good brothers like yourselves.
Oh,
thank you,
hearts in the chat box already.
No, and like you mentioned, Jeremy, I am very, very new to this business. An early student in the game, and I couldn't be happier to have fallen into the business that I love, and to see it through the eyes of a new student, and taking it all in. But I got started right here in Milwaukee, Crusher Country, as we call it around here.
I call it Wrigley North.
At train. Yeah, there's no doubt in that takeover whenever the Cubs come to town. But no, we love it here. Good wrestling history, especially on the independent circuit. A lot of good wrestling halls and venues. Knights of Columbus and and Elks Lodges and places like that. But really grew up loving wrestling around the Milwaukee area. And as soon as I found out where a school was to start learning and training, I took full advantage of the opportunity. Was kind of at a spot where I wanted to give everything I could to help the business. Found a school with Frankie DeFalco and the Beer City Bruiser, right in Milwaukee, and started training. I've been training ever since.
Oh yeah. So how long have you really been in? Like, what is the establish on the t-shirt? What's that year? Oh, he's got something good he's drinking. I've got water. I don't know what you're drinking. I drink only the finest Fiji water.
Ooh,
you drink Pedialyte.
It's good.
That's what I got going for me is the vanilla Coke coffee.
Oh yeah.
Full disclosure, it is early on relatively early on a Sunday morning when we're recording this. Anytime before like 3 o'clock on a Sunday to me is early. So we're kind of still waking up. We are three very tired zebras.
So very much me just waking up.
Yeah, well, So again, how long have you been in exactly? It can't be more than a couple of years.
No, so my EST would be January of 2018.
Oh wow.
Good Lord. I bumped into you for the first time. It was either at freelance either at freelance or at, I think it was at an Evolve seminar in Chicago. It was one of those two, and I'm wanting to say it was the Evolve seminar. So that would have been like 19. So good Lord, you were barely a year in. I remember being blown away just by how good you were, and then found out you're only a year in. I was like, good Lord, how bad do I suck?
Oh man, it's funny. We all come from different backgrounds, and we find ourselves in a position wearing stripes on any given day, on any given weekend, in front of Lord knows who, and to be in an opportunity like that with say an Evolve seminar, meeting peers who also wear the stripes, it's learning experiences that I wouldn't trade for the world.
And that's what I love about you. For those of you who really don't know Dan Perch in person, he has, and we're going to talk more about this in a second, but he's got this little notebook that he's always writing stuff down into. And if ever there was a student of the game, I would have to put your face on the book of students of the game, because you're always writing something down, you're always asking questions, and Lord love you, you're so positive. I love you, Dan Perch. You are the man. I was trying not to make this like a fanboy session, but like it's apparently going to be a fanboy session.
I was going to say,
I'm a Dan Perch fanboy.
I can confirm, because that's what he did all weekend in Tampa.
Yeah.
I saw that notebook like dozens of times, just in conversations. Anything that myself or Adam or Chris said that was really helpful, he's sitting there jotting it down, and we were just like, this kid gets it.
Yeah, where did the notebook start? How did it start? And how many of those things have you gone through already?
To answer that last question, starting a lot, several. But no, it was something where I was taught, brought up by Beer City Bruiser, and teaching lessons every day. And from the first day I walked into camp, I realized, being the bottom man on the totem pole, I'm not going to understand everything in one day. So, if I can take one thing each day and carry it with me, the one thing I know is I've got, the passion and the longevity to stay with it. God forbid, God willing, you will see me tomorrow. That kind of an attitude. So if I can take something with me today, and I know I'll see it tomorrow, and work just as hard, anything I can carry with me, the better. And I use that notebook almost like my laptop, I guess, on the job, on the lesson, at the learning.
Do you have like a giant like hard drive that you're putting that all into, just typing it out after every show and just making the giant book of Perch, or how's that going?
Ooh, that's a good question. My hard drive comes to really my own mind, body, and spirit. Writing stuff down through the notes helps tremendously. Sometimes some of those notes get typed up through a message or a text or an email, or someone reaching out to me, or myself reaching out to someone. But more so, it's just for myself to play through and continuous loop, I guess. I've got some notes that I write down once, a couple years later, it makes more sense to me, and then I write it down again.
Oh yeah, that's what that meant. Okay.
Yeah. Yep,
one of those aha moments.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Yep.
Oh, you just said one of my favorite words, aha, because that's one of my favorite questions I ask people. Dan Perch, you're still very early on in this, but I feel like you've had several of them already. Do you remember your first aha moment in wrestling? And what was it?
Oh, man, that's the wonderful thought right there. I was told early on that, eventually there'll be a moment where things kind of click, or there'll be like a aha, and it goes. And I had picked people's brains that I trained with, and some veterans in the area, at Brew City Wrestling, where I, had my start and first home. I started asking veterans, what was your aha moment? What was the moment where it all
It's a great
clicked?
question, isn't it?
Yeah, and the amount of answers you get, and just like any question, I'm not looking for a definitive yes or no answer. It's more so just the theory behind it. So, understanding from other people's perspectives on their, moments and aha moments, I think it may have spoiled it for me because I'm waiting for it and it still hasn't happened.
You know, you brought up a good point. You weren't looking for the definitive, you were just looking for the theory. I feel like that is wrestling in general. There is no A, B, C way of doing it. There's A and there's A 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. It's a spider web of different ways to go. And as long as you have the general direction, I feel like you're all right. So like it's funny you said that because I've kind of always viewed it like that. There's no like A B path. There's A and there's B and there's several different trains of thought to get there.
Yeah, and it is, like being students. And another lesson that's learned is nothing is ever perfect in this business.
Nope.
Therefore, we're always going to be striving to get better. It's the most comforting kind of law, if it could be called a law of wrestling, is there is no perfection. Therefore, even the best are going to be striving to get better every step of the way. So, to take theories and to take ideas and to realize, well, this isn't right or it's not wrong. It's just, in any kind of a setting, it could be, the ideas behind it is just as important as, the answers you're looking for.
Do you remember your first match?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
Oh God, those are so fun. I remember my first match. I was wearing khaki pants and the referee stripe because I wasn't supposed to be there. Do you remember when you stopped feeling nervous being in the ring? Because it took me a long time to just like calm down and stop tricking yourself into thinking that everybody's staring at you. Because you don't go in there thinking that people are there to see you, but I feel like every referee feels like at some point like the new kid in class, everybody's just staring at you the whole time. And it's just like, oh God. So when did you kind of get comfortable in the ring, I guess is the question.
Oh yeah. So I get, the pregame jitters or the nerves or the butterflies from the stomach. That hits me every single time. And right before hitting that curtain to go out through the, to the ring, I try my best to take that deep breath and turn those butterflies and that nervousness into adrenaline. And realize with the adrenaline fueled, I know I'm here to do a job and I'm here to do the best I can. And at the end of the day, it's performing for the fans. However, you have to kind of keep that, working mentality going,
right?
And try and not let that get to you, because there's so many times you hear every word said, or hey ref, or your fly's down. You look and it's not, and someone, gotcha.
Or the guy in your earpiece hits you with your fly is down as a near and dear Papa Zebra to me once did. I'm not going to name names because I don't want to start no beef, but yeah, I'm standing there in the corner and I'm trying to look all Joe professional and I get a, hey brother, your fly's down. And I see one of these. I got you. Sorry, got sidetracked there, but so like, where what is your territory, for lack of a better term? Where are you ranging to and from right now? Because when I met you, you were kind of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Chicago area, but you've expanded greatly just in the last year alone. What states have you been hitting lately? And have you noticed any differences in the crowd, in how it affects how you do your job versus, in Chicago, you have a certain type of a fan, and Jesse and I were talking about this in another episode. In other parts of the country, your job may differ a little bit. Have you noticed any differences in, geographically speaking, in how your job may differ from night to night?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. That's one of my favorite parts about, the role and position that we have and how we facilitate it is the crowd differs, from region or area. When I first started, I wanted to be, known and get reps in southeastern Wisconsin. So I want to start working every promotion in the area I can and meet people to learn about other promotions, hop in the cars with other people. Started hopping in the car, and then we started traveling all over Wisconsin, and now not just southeastern Wisconsin, now northern, western. That kind of expanded out to across the border to Minnesota on some trips. And then ranging down to Illinois. Zawa Wrestling was one of the first out-of-state ones that I worked for in Illinois, and that's out kind of in the middle of Rock Falls in Oregon, Illinois, so far from Chicago. But it reminded me of kind of home up here, Wisconsin. Just people who are truly so passionate about pro wrestling, and they don't get it all the time, but when they do, they just love everything about it. And then traveling out to a city like Chicago, where they're proud of their fanhood. They are proud. Just any of the historic matches and stuff, it garners and it shapes a crowd differently. And to be in position in independent pro wrestling in front of a Chicago crowd, wow, that's so much fun. That's a good part of
Chicago crowds bring it. They bring it, man. And
I can't wait to experience that myself.
Oh man, buckle up, sweetheart. Buckle up. Jesse, you spent some time down there in Tampa with our illustrious colleague. You two get up to any fun shenanigans while you were down there? You got any good memories from down there? Talk to me, because I mean, we got two brothers here that did something I didn't do, so I want to hear all about it. Actually, you know what? I'll ask this. Perch, what was your takeaway from GCW down there for Mania week? How did you approach it, and what was your takeaway from it?
Yeah, so that was a week that I was really looking forward to. And knowing that it was the epicenter of independent professional wrestling and all of professional wrestling, in the world. So, wanting to be right in the middle of it and to learn. I want to go into this weekend, having an idea of what I know about wrestling, but I want to come out of it learning 10 new ideas and new goals and new ideas of, where I can go to get better, what I can do to make the show overall better. So I found that with going to the collective. I had met a handful of the people working in Indiana previously. So I went with the mind state of I'm gonna head there and help out in any way I can with my notebook and hopefully throughout the entire day I'll be able to learn about wrestling, whether it's from ring setup, tear down, cleaning up, or referees. And I was blessed to know the referees from that show in Indiana, the collective, and I mean, you guys couldn't have been more gracious to me to welcome me in and allow me to be a student that weekend. My idea was I want to take this as a seminar or a school or a class, going to college for the week, and you guys allowed me to do that at GCW, and I couldn't be more grateful for that weekend. And what happened was just being ourselves, being true, and truly swimming in our passion of pro wrestling.
Oh man, so how did you feel about the short shorts?
that was my idea. That was all my idea.
Hey, you're here. We're gonna talk about it. I want to talk about this because you're a braver man than me. I do not have the ankles to pull that off. So I gotta hear all about this. You're out there. You're in short shorts. It's Tampa. Take me through it, man. Put me in your cowboy boot. Oh wait, we didn't wear those. We didn't do those. Just put me in your shoes for this, man.
Oh man, what a wild time. It's the craziest of moments always make for the best of stories.
Oh God, I love stories. That's the best part of this business is
Yeah.
sitting around with a couple of colleagues telling stories. That is the best.
So that was this was probably it was a Thursday night, midnight or during the final show of the first night. Jesse goes to me and says, "Hey, Perch, just be prepared this weekend if anything comes up. We may something may come up. You never know." And like, okay, hey, tell you what, man, I'll always be ready, and I'll always have stuff, and I'll come here ready to go every day. So that next morning came, and yeah, the opportunity came up to be in Effie's show, which was a grand opportunity. A gentleman who I've worked with a couple times before.
Love
but I've
Effie.
he's great. he's a good storyteller inside that ring, and to know that he's putting on the show, he's going to tell a story throughout this entire show. So to be able to play a part in that, I was thrilled. So I wear comfortable clothes, and I've got my black pants, and I generally wear a nice pair of black shorts under, just for easy changing purposes. It gets hot at the ref. We're wearing some black dress pants out there in the hot heat. So I like to have some easily change into stuff. So I'm putting on my shorts, and and Jesse goes, "Wait, Perch, hold on a second." And I could just see the wheels, spinning in his mind. And I'm like, all right, okay, hold on. And literally the idea just in his head, he gets something going, and I see him kind of, go off. He's, "Hold on, just a moment. I'll be right back." So Jesse goes off. In my mind is thinking, all right, again, he said, "Be ready for anything." I'm just kind of sitting here, just waiting, ready for action and seeing what's happened. Just intrigued at what, he's got in store. What's Jesse thinking here? What's he, cooking up? And he comes back and he asks me, very serious. And he says, "Hey, Perch, would you be all right wearing those shorts in the match?" And I knew how serious he was in the asking question. It was a true, genuine, a truthful question. And I looked him dead in the eyes and answered truthfully and said, "Oh man, I'd be thrilled. Anything you need."
Of course.
And not quite hitting me the fact, well, I'm going to be out in shorts and this and that, and oh wow, this is going to be a moment. And
I'm really proud of that.
And sure enough, it was. But the funniest, the best takeaway I got out of it was Adam as well asking me and saying, "Hey, Perch, just make sure you're comfortable with this." And the best part that I got was you guys were so truthful, and a moment like that, you wouldn't put me in any position I wouldn't feel comfortable with. And not that of course, if give me an opportunity to wear shorts out there for this match, geez, that's gonna be thrilling. And you had the idea, so you knew other people were gonna get a thrill out of it too. And,
oh man,
that was so good. That was so good. I couldn't be happier to say, "Oh yeah, I'd love to."
The shenanigans here.
So I'll give a quick little synopsis as to what actually happened. Like I said, I saw Perch getting ready, and he has like the collective tie-dye t-shirt on, and he's got these shorts.
Yeah.
And he's rocking his mustache as well. And I'm like,
freaking
oh my God,
I love it.
You look like Lieutenant Jim Dangle from Reno 911. So I was like, "Hey, do this quick little pose." So he did it, and I took a picture, and I said, "I've got an idea." So I go to Effie, and I show him the picture. I said, "This is Perch." And I scroll over, and he goes, "Oh my God, can he ref in those shorts?" I said, "Let me ask him." So I went and asked him. I said, would you be comfortable with it? And Perch was like, yeah, I'll totally do it. And I went back to Effie, and Effie's like, "Oh, I've got cowboy boots he could wear." I was like, let's not go that far. Like, we want the joke to be there, but we don't want it to be like a direct, we want it to be like, does he look like Jim Dangle? And I even told commentary to kind of like try to find a Reno 911 joke that they could throw in there. Like, we got the new ref goofing in his shorty shorts. And the only reason I even brought it up was because it was on Effie's show. So everything that we did on Effie's show was going to be over the top.
It was going to be over the top, haha.
Oh, this was not going to be a show that was going to be a super serious. It needed as much levity as possible. And he was doing the Twink Gauntlet, and it just made sense. And Chris, Adam, everybody loved it. They thought it was great. And the fact that Perch did it without a complaint everybody became a fan just from his willingness. And it's just like, I couldn't do it because my pasty white hairy legs would have just driven the fans away, but Perch was the right person for it. So short. So that's the shorty short story in a nutshell. It's a shorty short.
That's the shorty short for you. Oh,
shorty short for you. But Effie was so thrilled. He's like, "Oh my God, that's so perfect. It fits." And because it was his call. So yeah. I had to run it by him, and he loved it. And I'm like, great.
Anytime you can put furniture in the room to just spruce it up, you're doing the right thing.
Well, and the thing was, the night before we had done Bloodsport, and they needed as many referees as possible. So that's when I told Perch, I said, go ahead and put your stuff on. We're all gonna be involved, blah, blah, blah. This might be able to get you on another show. And circumstances worked out for that Saturday that he could be on Effie's Big Gay Brunch. And then the way that he reffed, they were like, hey, let's put him on another show. And at that point, like I think we added into like 2 more shows, 2 or 3. I don't remember.
He came back with more shows to his title than he went down there with, if memory serves.
And like I said, we opened the door for him, gave him an opportunity. And I remember getting feedback from the wrestlers, and I said, how did he do? And they're like, we can't really give feedback because we didn't notice him.
That's the best compliment you can get is, dude, you were out there?
Yeah. And then other refs that watched it, like Chris Bankos, Adam Galt, they're all like, oh my God, this kid gets it. He's got the body language. He's got the demeanor. He knows what he's doing. And they're like, let's get him on more stuff. And that's basically how it went.
I'm so proud of you.
Oh man, and that means the world to me, that seeing you guys there and building a rapport and getting to help out any way I could. I couldn't be more grateful, Jesse, and the knowledge that I was able to take out of that by you guys giving me those opportunities. I think that's what the spirit of pro wrestling is kind of about, and it's a blessing every day that we're in this business, that we have opportunities like that and willingness to learn and to work hard the entire way. Again, that game plan going into that weekend, couldn't even fathom what was going to happen. And I couldn't do any of it, without having you. So just want to let you know how grateful I am for that opportunity of all you guys, Adam and Chris and you and Ben and, just everybody, and Recon, just meeting everybody there and knowing that we're all in the same boat and we're all at, different walks of life, different, skill levels, and being the new student, the youngest on the totem pole, I couldn't be more happy to be able to look up to you guys and to have your brains to pick and to study. So, thank you.
Oh God. Yeah. Oh, thank you for being you. Do you know how hard it is to find somebody like you in this business? You know what? I was trying to be nice as I could. There's a lot of chuckleheads that come through wrestling that just do not get it. They see it as a way to get famous, to become internet popular, et cetera, et cetera. And to see someone like you with the passion for the business and the desire to learn, the thirst for knowledge, and just the general good human being that you are, is a breath of fresh air. And I think not just wrestling, but the world needs more people like that. So like, thank you for being you. You know. So we had a show a couple of weeks back. I wanted to talk to you about this because I thought it was one of the best shows that they ever did. And one of the best matches. I'm talking about Warrior Wrestling. We did the War of Attrition match for the main event. It was you and 8 luchadors who I for the life of me can't list them all off. Go back and watch the show, look at the show notes. But there was a lot of talent in there. Take me through that. You said to me day of the show, you did your homework, you got ready for that. Just kind of take me through that match. Take me through kind of where you were at mentally on it and just the prep work you did to get ready for that match, because those matches are not easy to do. And then you add lucha to the mix, you know, it's not easy.
Yeah. It makes for a wonderful, recipe at the end. Yeah, the idea of it is just awesome, and to see it facilitated. At one point, it had to start as an idea from the promotion and the promoters, and they put together the idea of a lucha championship, a Lucha Libre championship, and the history of warrior wrestling with all different styles of wrestling. They always put emphasis on lucha matches. So to start with the idea of, we want to have a lucha champion, and how are we going to crown the lucha champion? And like you guys have talked about, the war of attrition matches that they've had in the past, that was exactly how they were going to do it. So thus 8 luchadors fighting for one title on the football field. Just a great idea, a great story, and a great match setup that created a lot of intrigue for all the fans. And I think for us just as well. Anyone who was on the show was just as thrilled. So, when it comes to different matches and match styles, as we know, we try to prepare the most we can. And, we can never prepare enough. But every once in a while, your straw gets pulled to do a match that you may not have much, prep work with, or you might not have much experience with. So, a luchador 8-man war of attrition match, multi-falls, was something that I was, better be prepared if my straw gets pulled. Because Lord knows it's when you don't expect it that you're going to. So, with this one, I wanted to put in, prep work and establishing a luchador background, and working with Lucha Libre in the areas, and knowing that Chicago has got a handful of luchador companies, I could try and sharpen the skill of Lucha Libre for referees on my own. So I jumped headfirst in a few months ago,
into the thick of it.
Right in the thick of it, at the old Berwyn Eagles Club, where a lot of good wrestling history has been. And I worked a few times and started working for a company. LLT was the one at the time, and working the whole show. No, nothing says jumping into the deep end like working an entire 8-9 match lucha show as the solo ref.
Ooh.
So, you pick up on some things and realize questions to ask that may be pertinent. You may not have a whole lot of time to ask your few questions, but realizing rudos and technicos, good guys, bad guys, how many pinfalls, and is this for the championship? Those are a couple of questions I learned to ask quickly when being thrown into the deep end. and realizing, through an entire day of lucha, the crowd reacts so differently. And from there, it was such a thrill that I wanted to keep going back for more. And I started working some galley lucha shows in the area where we're doing AAW tapings as well. Carlos Galley would bring in luchadors for a Saturday, Sunday show. Well, AAW would be running a he would do a Friday, Sunday show. Well, AAW would have a Saturday show. So I would just stay down for the whole weekend, working a Friday Lucha show, a Saturday AAW show, and a Sunday Lucha show to round it out.
There you go.
Through that, getting to establish a little bit of rapport and understanding of how certain luchadors work. With a lucha show, there's a big difference between match 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then the main event.
The main, yeah.
Yep.
If you've never been to a lucha show, go to a lucha show, because it is completely different than anything that you've ever been to. Man, it's a whole other ball game entirely, and I mean that in all of the right ways.
Can confirm.
Oh man, it's a blast and a half. I remember the first galley show I did. I had no clue what to expect. I walked in and like there was literally I'm calling it an orchestra section just over to my right. And you've got every instrument and noisemaker and percussion, and I'm just like, oh, it's that kind of party. Okay.
We've got a lucha company that runs in Nashville. I worked for several years ago. They're still running, and they do a show at a place called Plaza Mariachi now. And it's like every time they do a show, it's like a big festival. And I remember doing the first time I did an all lucha show, I was one of like maybe 3 people on the show that didn't speak Spanish.
Even better.
Yeah, and I was given an earpiece and a radio, and I'm being given cues in Spanish, and I have no idea what's being told to me. So there's a lot of guessing as to what was going on, and then like he said, learning what matches have the 2 out of 3 falls, who the good guys, the bad guys were. It's a lot. People don't understand. Like Lucha Libre is like it's its own art form.
Mm-hmm.
So to be able to learn it quickly and then be able to jump right back into the fray, especially with the match that you put him in, the war of attrition, man, that's some crazy stuff. But
on paper, it was a gamble. But in reality, it was the easiest decision on the night that I made by a landslide. I knew that Dan was the right guy for the job because I knew he'd already had much more experience in lucha than I had. And I knew that he'd kill himself before he'd allow that match to suck. So just off of those 2 factors alone, that was his time to shine. And that's probably one of the proudest moments I could have is taking what I call my first round draft pick and putting him out there in the main event for something like that, and just watching him slam dunk it like Michael Jordan, just with authority.
Well, it's like we saw some of the positive comments from certain people about it too. So that's got to be reaffirming that you made the right call.
Well, and I'm not trying to make it about me, but like it is, but all of the credit and the happy thoughts and feelings have to go on to Dan here, because he's the one that went out there and did it. I'm just the guy that wrote the name next to the match assignment. That's all. But going back to lessons learned, what's probably been like the biggest lesson you've learned? What's been, what's some of the things you've learned? What's the best advice and lessons you've learned so far?
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of it that we take in every day, and we hear so many different angles of people's experiences, and we try and draw from it as much as we can. One of the biggest pieces of advice I was given, the first piece of advice I was given, it was from Beer City Bruiser, when he said, trust your gut and rely on your instinct. Treat every day as if it was the first day you just walked in, with that same wide eye and smile and naivety to the business. It just that trust your gut, rely on your instinct, and treat every day like it's your first day in. That was one of the first pieces that I was given, and just realizing, it's okay to be here. We can be ourselves. Nothing is more truthful than trust your gut. Making you realize you don't have to be someone that you're not, or pretend to be someone, or hide behind a cage of this is who I want to portray myself as, but really on the inside this is who I am. Very early on, with that little piece of advice, I was able to just be myself, which has allowed me to take it through the eyes of, I'm here to learn, grow, get better. But that was a big piece that started right away. And then the other piece that was given that has carried me, and carried the positive thoughts, was Adam Pierce giving a seminar when he said, work hard, treat people fairly, and do that long enough, over a long period of time, you earn respect. So, those few things are a couple of, rocks that I go back to and carry with me. A couple of good Midwestern work there, a lot of time in Milwaukee, West Dallas, Adam Pierce being from Waukegan, and Beer City Bruiser being from right here in Wisconsin. If those guys have paved some roads in the professional wrestling business, I want to try walk down those roads and contribute anything I can, like those guys did. So those were a couple of big pieces of advice I was given right away that have always stuck with.
Man, why are you such a good human being? Like, seriously, I want to get away from wrestling a little bit, just talk about the person behind the stripes. Like, what are your passions? What are you into? Like, how do you have the outlook on life that you do? Because, like, I have never met anybody as positive as you, ever. Now, granted, I spent a lot of time in the military, and that's probably a good reason why. But, who is Dan Perch when he's not, jumping around being chased by 300-pound, monsters because they think they're in a football game?
Yeah. So I take this business through the eyes of, this is like my college. It's my education. It's my trade school. It's what I'm putting my efforts in life into, is professional wrestling. Outside of that, I love my family, plain and simple. Getting into the business, mom and dad supported what I did, whether they didn't quite understand it. But they like pro wrestling just because I always did. So they always watched it growing up and were around it because I did. And I always played sports growing up too. So they would always come to my games. So when I started doing professional wrestling, they would come to events. So they got to understand what I was in it for and see it through. I'm not just in here trying to, willy-nilly or out here just goofing off. I truly have the passion, and they saw that. So, spending time outside, since I dedicate, a lot of time to professional wrestling, outside of that, time with the family is what it's all about. And now mom has since, passed, but we've gotten strong as a family. Pops still comes to shows all the time. And I've got an older brother, about 4 years older, and he's got a lovely wife, and they have 2 kids. One who is just about 4, baby girl, and a baby boy who's about 1.5. And I was always the youngest in my entire family, cousins and everybody. I am the youngest, so I've never been around babies or kids, anything in my life. I set the tone when I was there. Okay, no one younger than me in my entire family, until it really right around the time I started with pro wrestling, 2017. Baby girl was born. So, when I'm not doing wrestling on any given weekends, I take the days and talk to my brother and sister-in-law, and and we get together and enjoy Wisconsin living. Good music, good sports, good outdoors, grilling, tailgating.
Y'all do have some good bratwursts up there, I'll tell you that. I have had some good
That is
food
true.
in Wisconsin. I have had some great food in Wisconsin. Ah, man. So what do you got coming up, Mr. Perch? What shows can we expect to see your beautiful face at?
Ooh, well, I'm thrilled because today I've got a show coming up, which is, speaking of lucha shows, we've got Galley Lucha tonight.
Love me some Galley.
And that'll be on, I think, Facebook Live. They usually stream it. Yeah. We've got Zello Pro coming up this Thursday. We've been doing shows at the Windy City Thunderbolts baseball stadium.
I did some time out there with a promotion that's no longer around, but
that's
those
fun.
shows are fun. Those shows are fun.
Head out Thursday afternoon, work a show, and come back late Thursday night for early Friday. But yeah, those are always a good time. And then a big one, AAW United We Stand is coming up, and that's going to be Fred Yehai against Mance Warner in a steel cage.
A salad steel cage.
Oh, Mance Warner.
I love me some
Mance Warner. Yeah, me too. Mance is the dude. He's awesome.
Being in the business as we are as referees, we get to watch through the eyes of a student, as a fan, as a referee. Our
job is so weird because you just hit the nail on the head. We have the best seat in the house as a fan, but we can't get caught being a fan, or we're gonna get run over and then get yelled at. So it's funny you said that. So you got all that coming up. You're gonna be at Warrior. How can we follow your exploits on social media, Dan Perch? Where can we keep up with that beautiful mustache?
Great. So I never did social media until wrestling, so it's all straight up wrestling related. You can find me at Perch XLV.
What does the XLV stand for? Because I've seen that everywhere. Is there some significance to that, or?
Well, Perch was taken, so I had to go with something.
Okay.
And well, being a big time blood Packer fan here in Wisconsin, I know. Sometimes I'm a heel. I'm a Rudo outside of Wisconsin.
Go Pack, go!
Had to incorporate, the Pack hood travels. It travels, as you heard right there. I had to incorporate the Packers somehow into a name. If I was going to have a name that stays out there for forever, for the world, for Jeremy to say, I see it everywhere. Well, you can also see the last Super Bowl the Packers won was Super Bowl XLV against the Steelers. Aaron Rodgers.
Oh well, we don't like the Steelers, so there we go.
Yeah.
So that's a little homage, just a homage to my favorite team.
Fair enough. I will never ever look at that the same way again. I will only view it with disdain. So before we kind of wrap this up, we got to finish with some good stories. And I feel like a guy like you has seen a couple of funny things in your day. Can you give me a good instance? What was a good chuckle? What did you see? What happened? Who was involved? Get some heat, brother.
Brother.
Well, we can end on a funny story here. This one lies into the intricate parts of the job and the role that we get on any given day. This was working a fair show circuit early on in the business. That being said, as a referee, we do many jobs and anything we can do to make ourselves more useful and helpful. And it comes with some more responsibilities. That being said, I was the guy responsible for carrying the trailer with the ring in a truck, let's just say. and
truck.
A truck. Yeah. So we it's me and a whole crew, of course. We fill up the whole trailer. All I was told was the truck can seat 5. So okay,
allegedly.
Allegedly.
So I show up to the Elks Lodge where the trailer is, and we meet up with the guy who's got the truck, and did it. This is modern day, and now this truck is a rusted out like a Jimmy SUV with like rust on the sides and like straight up 1996 with the little
Got a
rack
couple
on
of wheels on it, but that's it.
she's got personality.
Personality.
Yep.
Oh God.
Got some personality to it. So again, this is my first year in and learning the ropes and handling responsibilities and yep, oh yeah, I'll handle it. We'll get this done and the do it everything you can to the best of the abilities. So I see it's got a little tape cassette player in there, and I go back to my trunk where I've got a little shoebox with some random trinkets and found my Offspring Smash cassette from back in the day. The Smash album. Any excuse to bring that sucker out, and that was one of them. So I popped that in the cassette player, started listening to some great tune. God, what a great one. So we start heading up. We start heading up north, and we're going. Some music blaring. We got 3 in the back, 1 sitting passenger, and I'm driving. And now this truck is like, you bring it up to 55 and it's wobbling. The trailer, Lord. It's a 16-foot ring, so not quite as big as a Merle ring or a Merle trailer. However, this thing is huge and it's way heavier than the truck itself. and we're able to take it. We got about a 2-3 hour drive, and we're going up. And all of a sudden we start hitting some construction. And now I'm thinking, well, at least, we're not forced to take it fast in this construction. We can go nice and slow. So, cruising it around 40 or whatever. And in a one lane with cones on, the direct right side and the ditch on our left side. Just a nightmare scenario as the trailer is shifting the truck if you go any which way. So taking it nice and easy. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, something happens, boom, and we start losing control. Like the truck starts fishtailing left, right, literally didn't know what was going on. It's just an instant, boom, we're going left, we're going right, holy smokes, what's going on here? And taking control of the wheel and trying to maneuver as much as I can, but this truck is completely out of control. We end up veering off to the right, not across any traffic or anything. It threw a big ditch and stumbled down. And next thing you know, we're sitting in a ditch as the truck does not flip, but the trailer completely flipped as we're down 20 feet into a ditch in the marsh outside of Allentown, Wisconsin, if anyone knows where that is. But it was a moment of, and a complete look to the right. Guy next to me is completely safe. Look to the back. All 3 guys in the back, completely safe. Said a quick prayer and grabbed the coffee that was sitting in the dash. Said, "You guys all right?" "Yep, we're all right." "Okay, well, let's figure things out." Grabbed that coffee in the dash, hopped out of the truck, climbed out of the truck, made my trek up that 15-20 foot hill out of the ditch, and was there as calm as can be as a couple people pulled up to the side of the highway, and their jaws were, and I went up to them, said, "Hey guys, just had a little bit of a wreck. We're gonna be all right. We're pro wrestlers. We've got a show to get to. We're gonna get things figured out. Everyone here was safe, and we're gonna get things going. So thank you." And again, their jaws were just completely dropped.
How are you so calm about this?
And it came to a few phone calls were made. The van with all the wrestlers and Bruiser and everybody, all the vets, turned around and they were up way ahead. And we told them, there's just a little bit of a wreck, something happened, and they turned back around. And there was another accident on the road caused by people who were gawking at what we had. So we had to wait for them to get through that. And they eventually got to us, and yeah, you know, we figured it out. We got the truck, you know, towed to a place. We were all sitting there realizing, holy smokes, what's going to happen? As God loves pro wrestling, one thing led to another, and a Penske truck rolled up that people were just bringing back for the weekend. I think Bruiser sweetened the deal with the guy working the rental place and asked if we could use it for the weekend. He said yes. We took everything out of the trailer, put it into that Penske truck. A few hours delay. Next thing you know, I'm driving, sitting up high on that 16-foot big wheel, big rig, driving the Penske truck the rest of the way to the show.
I love it.
The gym opened up for us, ran a little late, thankfully, and we got up and performed the show without any hitches in the entire
Wow.
process.
And just so I'm clear, the coffee was fine.
Yeah, the coffee was fine, still warm.
Man, that, you know, that's something I learned about you in Tampa, was you are a man who loves his coffee.
Yeah. Just give me some straight black coffee. It starts out hot, may get cold throughout the day, but yeah, that's my
Just
favorite
straight
drink.
coffee. That's you. Just straight coffee. You don't put any sugar, no cream, no nothing. See, I can't do that. I got to sweeten it up a little bit. I can't just do the straight coffee thing. That's just me. But I'm not a professional coffee drinker like you, Dan Perch. I'm not as good a human being as you. There's just no two ways around it. So you got all this stuff coming up. Where do you want to see yourself in 5 years? What is your goal? We'll end on that. What is your 5-year goal?
Wow. You know, thinking about it, there's a lot of short-term goals, and medium-term goals, and long-term goals that want to get accomplished. It all starts with, you know, today and tomorrow. So, you know, thinking 5 years out from now, whenever I think about that, you know, I know there's stuff that I can't even fathom what's going to go on even, you know, 5, 10, 15 years from now. All I can do is try and put myself in the best position. So when I think about longevity and where I want to be, well, all I want to do is contribute to the business in any way I can. It's been around, pro wrestling's been around long before us, and it's going to be around long after us. You know, individual achievements within a 5-year stretch of my time here, I don't really have any per se, other than I want to continue helping the business any way I can, and that takes with learning. There's a whole lot that I don't know about pro wrestling that I'm aiming to learn. Mentioned before, trying to sharpen the skill of Lucha Libre. You know, I think of it in terms of just a nice, simple shapes. There's 5 stars. You know, there's Lucha wrestling, there's traditional wrestling, there's Midwest, there's West Coast, there's East Coast, there's you know, British wrestling.
I was gonna say that's just our continent.
And that's our continent, let alone every other continent and styles. There's so much out there. I would say in 5 years, I want to have a little bit of an understanding of more styles of professional wrestling, and I want to be able to hold my own in all aspects, as well as start to learn some different languages too. I've been asking the Wrestling with Unicorns brothers have been a great deal of help, as well as others, in helping me fill out my back page of my notebooks, which is learning Spanish on the fly. So, you know, in 5 years, I would hope to maybe have a little bit more knowledge in that aspect too. So, you know, any way I can get better to contribute to this business that we are all so passionate about and share that same love about, I want to have more skills to help contribute.
There you go. Well, I think we've picked the bush, so to speak, of all of the fruit and berries we want to get for today. Dan, we definitely want to have you back. We're going to stop here for now. We wanted to get you on here and get you established, and get you going. We want to have you back some point here in the near future, but until that time, Mr. Fields, some words of wisdom, if you will.
Well, as it's now Sunday for us, thankfully, there will be no safety briefing on Monday. I'm really hoping that nobody added to the population and nobody subtracted from the population. So I think it's a good weekend.
It's a good weekend. So with that being said, this is the crew of Pop Goes the Zebra, along with the illustrious Mr. Dan Perch. We wish everyone on Earth a good day and have a pleasant tomorrow. We'll catch you guys next time. Perch, get to your show safely, and we will talk to everybody next time. Take care,
Much
everybody. Much love.